Hello everybody, Toys of Arkham here. Sorry I'm gonna do this video like this because I don't really want to show my face. I'm having a bad hair day. Only joking, I'm having a great hair day. How's everybody doing? So, this video is to discuss my thoughts on the Batman movie. I saw it on Friday and I saw it in 4DX. I don't know if you've heard about what 4DX is, but essentially it is an experience in the cinema whereby your seats move with the action on the screen. And also, when there's a fight scene, your seat will vibrate to simulate punches. And if there's rain on screen, there'll be a spray of water in your face. And if there's mist or fog on the screen, the cinema will fill with mist and fog. If there is any sort of gunfighting on the screen, there will be flashes in the cinema to simulate gunfire. So it's a pretty cool experience. Some might say, well, how could you sit for 3 hours through a whole film and go about watching it that way? You know, some people get irritated by someone kicking their chair, and I can understand that. But believe it or not, this experience actually, it just blends. It actually, you don't realize it, even though it's part of the experience. It's not too pronounced, believe it or not. It would be almost like sitting through a video whereby Michael Myers is talking to you, but then after a while you forget that Michael Myers is talking to you. Do you know what I mean? So, let's get on to the movie itself. So first of all, as I said, I was looking at it in this 4DX experience cinema, which in itself was really cool. And I hadn't got a whole lot of expectations for this movie other than I knew Matt Reeves was directing it. Matt Reeves, in my opinion, is an excellent director. So I had some sort of promise for this. And I'm a huge Batman fan, so obviously I was going to go see it. I had heard on the grapevine that the movie was going to be influenced by David Fincher movies. I happen to love those movies. Dark, noir, detective movies. Really cool. So I suppose I did have a bit of hope going in for the movie. The first thing that struck me was the tone of the movie. And what I mean by that is obviously just the mood of it was dark. It was damp, rainy atmosphere. It kind of had that vibe from the outset. Grungy. I love that. My favorite movie of all time is Blade Runner. And that is this very similar atmosphere, if not identical. And as the movie went on, it actually just got darker. There was a lot of rain. And I loved that. Thought it was really cool, added to the atmosphere of Gotham City. Personally, when it comes to, let's say, Zack Snyder's approach to the Batman character, I did like what he did in Batman vs. Superman. But I don't like Batman getting involved with supernatural beings and meta-humans. It's fun, but it's not the Batman I like. It's just not the way I like to see Batman. I understand when people say they think that that's the best thing ever, and that's what they like, and so be it, but it's just not for me. So this particular take, this more grounded, realistic take, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So also the artwork going into the movie, I saw a few clips of the art direction of the movie, the bus shelter posters, and just that black and red tone that they were going with. I really liked that from the beginning. So the cast, let's have a talk about the cast. Obviously, Robert Pattinson as Batman. Didn't know a whole lot about him other than, Twilight, which I'd never watched. He's obviously not the most physically imposing guy, but neither was Michael Keaton, so I was willing to give him, the benefit of the doubt and see how he played this part before I really judged him. The one thing that struck me from the outset was that obviously they skipped over an origin story. So by skipping over that, it was quite difficult to care about him. Like, we see him as a man in a Batman suit. We all love Batman, but this particular Batman, what's his story? So we didn't really get that. So it took me about a half an hour to really care about him, because I kind of began to understand what he was about. And he's obviously an angry, vengeful, deep thinker, and is a bit within himself. And I really liked that take, but it took me a while to, get that from him. The fact that they skipped over that, I mean, I understood it, but it just took a while to really care about him. But he did a great job. He did a good job, and I think they shot it in a way that made him look more intimidating. He was kind of around shorter people. The sounds made him sound heavy when he took footsteps, and the suit made him look bigger than he actually is. So I enjoyed him as Batman. He's he's vengeful, vengeance. So that's him. I thought he did a good job. I think he did a great job. Actually, the one thing I will say is, this is the first Batman movie I've seen in a long time whereby the bad guys didn't overshadow Batman. Dark Knight Rises was a Bane movie. The Dark Knight was a Joker movie. And there are other examples, but ultimately, this was a Batman movie. It was all about Batman. Batman was in nearly every scene, and he wasn't overshadowed by any of the bad guys. So I really loved that. Zoe Kravitz, didn't know anything about her. She did great. Excellent Catwoman. She had good chemistry with him. So yeah, I thought her casting was great. I thought Colin Farrell as Penguin was excellent. Absolutely loved that. He's a great actor, but he was completely unrecognisable, both in sight and sound. But that's just, that just shows how good of an actor he is and how good the makeup was. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad he's getting a spin-off. I thought it was brilliant, his character. So the other main character I suppose to talk about would be Paul Dano as the Riddler. Quite honestly, the Riddler, I thought, for such a great actor, he could have played it in a bit more of a unique way. It was too generic for my liking as a Riddler or any bad guy. I think he sounded probably like Bane, and he said things that sounded like something the Joker would say. So not that I was disappointed, he was fine, but it just wasn't too amazing, or as amazing as I thought he would play that character, if I'm being honest. So, in terms of the cast, everybody else was good. I thought the Commissioner Gordon was good, and yeah, all the cast were good. Other than that, so as I said, the setting was very good. Dark, noir, rain. That's right up my alley. So I absolutely loved that. The influences were clear in the movie. The Zodiac Killer movie. I think Blade Runner must have played some sort of an influence on it. And I think musically, Nirvana was an influence on the character, and the music obviously has Something in the Way playing through it at points as well. So the plot, the story itself, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was more detective-like, more of a thriller. Um, Actually, the one thing I spotted, I think he called himself Vengeance once, and that was in front of those thugs at the very beginning. But I think one or two characters call him Vengeance a couple of times during the movie. And I'm thinking, how do they know he calls himself that? Like, I think he's Batman, isn't he? Well, why are you calling him Vengeance? Anyway, it's a small nitpick, but they do refer to him as Vengeance. The story itself, it obviously builds up to this, finale where the water floods the city and forces them to be in a stadium, which is where it all plays out. It was, yeah, it was good. I mean, a little bit generic, but it was good. The Riddler influencing people on social media, I found that was a bit unusual, because if you look at the whole environment, it doesn't look too ultra modern, but yet they use social media in it, which reflects modern times. So when I say it doesn't look ultra modern, the clothing didn't look ultra modern, setting, the buildings didn't look ultra modern, the car is not ultra modern, Batmobile motorbikes aren't ultra modern, so they went ultra modern with social media, which was a bit unusual. The fact that Riddler then influenced others who then dressed exactly like him. Didn't we see that in the Joker movie? Didn't the general public start wearing masks and run riots around the place influenced by him? So we had kind of seen that before. But look, it's still a great movie. I still enjoyed it. So, the plot, I think these Hollywood producers and movie companies have a stencil that they allow a director to work around. They have to have a big set piece finale. I think at the end, I thought it was ending about 3 times over. There were some perfect opportunities to end it, and it then went on to another bit, which I found unusual. Almost as hard as I'm finding it to breathe in this mask right now. I found sitting through it at times, and that's not true. I actually really was enjoying it. Was it a tad bit long? I don't, really, I think phones are making us all a little bit short in attention span. So I don't really think that's the movie's fault. I think we're all just a bit impatient now. If you look back through time, there are plenty of 3 hours movies that are classics. I'm not going to say it's a classic, although, with time we'll see. I did really, really enjoy it, and I think the second time I watch it, I'll appreciate it more, because I'll know the character more from the beginning. I think I was trying to understand what he was about for about an hour, or, best part of an hour. So I think that next time I watch it, I'll know what he's about, and I'm in it from the beginning. So it might be even better the next time. So, yeah, that's my general thoughts. Lastly, the soundtrack. Really liked the soundtrack. Loved it. Actually, quite a lot of violin and strings in it, and it reminded me a bit of Casino Royale, especially the kind of love scenes between Pattinson and Catwoman. So yeah, so overall I really like that movie. It's probably my second favorite Batman movie after Batman Begins, but maybe I just have the bug at the moment, and buying all the merchandise and everything, so I'm a bit caught up at the moment. So hope you enjoyed my thoughts on this, and join me for videos on my collection. I do lots of reviews for all this stuff and more. My latest one was this particular Pattinson figure, so check that out. So like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you again shortly. See you guys.